What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy CJ Cuts, and today I got a tutorial for you guys. So in this tutorial, I'll be doing a highball fade, super clean blended fade with a crispy lineup, beard lineup, and everything. It's gonna be super dope. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below. Let me know what you think of the cut. So yeah, let's get into it. So here's the before, here's my canvas, and my client, he hasn't gotten cut in about 2 weeks. He's a pretty regular client, so nothing too crazy, but definitely in need of a clean fade. So right now I'm just going in, brushing everything down, just laying the hair down and trying to make sure I can really see what I'm working with before I even start cutting. Right now I got my Fabulous Silver FX Skeletons, and I'm just setting my ball line. I don't like to set it in harsh with the back of my trimmers. I just like to go up, set my line in, and then knock all the rest of the hair off from below. So right now I'm going in with my foil shaver, and I'm just cleaning up and really getting that nice smooth bald look at the end, at the bottom of my fade. This gives a really great transition from light all the way up to dark, and it just makes it overall clean. So when I do this, I like to make sure I'm not going all the way up to the line. I like to flick out when I get up closer to that ball line that I set in, because if you do go right up to it, you're gonna create a really harsh line, and it's gonna be hard to take out later. So right now I'm just going back in, brushing everything down, and I'm getting ready to set in my next guideline. So now I've got my Oster Fast Feeds with the lever all the way open, and I'm just going up about 3/4 of an inch. I like to give myself a little bit of room to work with, and as I stated, this is a high fade, so just giving myself a little bit of room to blend out. Now I'm going in with my lever closed on my Osters, and I'm just starting to flick out that bottom line. And when I say flick out, what I mean is I'm not digging in, I'm not trying to really cut the hair to that length. I'm just trying to knock that line out. If you do dig in with the clippers, you're gonna create another line, and it's just gonna be really hard for yourself to take that line out. So you just wanna flick at it, almost like you're just kind of knocking it off in a sense. You're knocking those hairs off to create that smooth transition. So now I go in and I've got my lever open about the 1/3 of the way up. I don't like to go halfway like a lot of people do, because I think it's harder to get the line out that way. Going about a 1/3 of the way open allows me to just easily flick the rest of that line out. So right here, I've got my number 1 guard on, and I'm creating my next guideline, and this is my final guideline for a high fade. So I'm just going up to the top and going up to that parietal ridge, which is right where the head starts to curve. And when I get to there, I like to go straight up. I don't like to dig in. That's gonna help me achieve that boxy look, which a lot of my clients like, and which I personally like on my cuts. So right now I'm just softening up that line. I closed the lever on my one, and this is just helping smooth that transition out. This isn't gonna fade the line out or anything crazy, so you don't have to spend too much time on that step, but just soften the line up so it's easier for yourself later. So now I've got my 0 guard on, or if you use a wall fading system, this is the half guard, and I'm just going in and flicking out with the corners of my clipper. I'm trying to just knock this middle line out. This guard won't completely take the line out, especially not on this texture of hair, but it'll get it pretty close and real soft. And right here, I can just go in, and now this is really just gonna knock that line out when I take the clipper all the way open, no guard on, and I'm just using that corner and really lightly flicking out. You have to be real light and careful and really specifically place your clipper in the spots that you need to in order to really get that smooth transition. So this is almost kind of like a detailing step. It's really the last step in my fading process, but it is also a certain level of detailing when I'm doing this. I'm just being very precise and very specific in where I place my clipper. So now, fade is looking blurry, all clean. I'm going in with some water, just preparing my client's hair to be picked out. This is just gonna make it more comfortable for your client and just a better experience overall. So I'm rubbing that water in, and then right here I'm just about to go in, pick the hair out, and then get ready to, shape my client up. I always pick the hair out first, especially on styles like this, like a curly top. If I'm going in to shape it up, it's just gonna make sure you get an all even cut, a real nice shape. and then I'll go in later and add some texture with the curling sponge. So right here I've got my Babyliss Pro FX clippers, and I'm just freehanding the top, getting that boxy shape like I said, and just creating the shape that I like. And now I'm going in and cleaning up the transition between the fade and the top. I'm really just using my clipper over comb. And here's a little tip: I've got a white comb and I've got a black comb. I use the white comb on darker hair so that I can get a nice contrast and really see the hair and exactly what I'm cutting. So right here I'm just fading in that beard, and I'm just really freehanding this kind of lever play, just like how you fade that bottom line out. That's how I fade into a beard. You don't want to take too much bulk off, depending on the client really, but this client doesn't want too much bulk off his beard. He just wants a transition into the beard. So now I'm debulking around the line, and what I mean by this is I'm laying the hairs down and knocking them down a little bit with my one guard, just so that I'll get a crispy lineup. So I've got my one guard on, it's all the way closed, and I'm going with the grain and just knocking all those little baby hairs down around the line so that when I go to line it up, it'll be super crispy. So right now I'm spraying some alcohol on a towel. This is by far the most important step of my lineup, for sure. You gotta prepare the lineup. I'll say it again, prepare the lineup. You gotta get all that grease, all that oil, everything out of the skin. So I've got 70% alcohol, and everywhere where I'm gonna be lining him up, I'm just cleaning the skin and just rubbing, and I repeat this. I didn't show it all in this video, but I repeat this step over and over and just try to get the skin as clean as possible. If you're ever wondering how people get that ash line or that just real crispy sharp look, that's because the skin is extremely clean. So now I go in and I'm just combing those little baby hairs down with a fine tooth comb, and I've got my Tresemme number 4 holding spray, and I'm just spraying it on the line, locking everything in and preparing it for my trimmers to just hit. So we're just getting everything ready. Like preparation is key. So right here I've got my fan going. I'm trying to keep my client's head real cool and just letting everything dry. And I go in with my Babyliss Gold Effects skeleton trimmers, and I'm just hitting that vertical bar and just setting everything in, getting my lineup nice and straight. When I'm doing this, I'm just tapping. I have my blade adjusted and it's modified so that it's a little bit sharper. So I'm just going in, tap, tap, checking it out, checking my work. You'll see me step back, take the trimmers back. Whenever I'm doing that, I'm just checking and seeing what it's looking like. So now I go in on my front line, and when I do this, I always start in the middle. And I say this because a lot of beginner barbers will try to start in the corner, and what that ends up doing is making them push those corners back. So starting in the middle just allows you to see if everything's straight and make sure you just go straight across and don't push the corners back. It gives a better, more executive look, and your client's gonna feel good in a few days when their line is still there and they don't have extra stubble growing in. So yeah, I'm just going in and just lining everything up, taking my time and just making everything clean. I'm going in on my beard line right here, just going straight down with it, nothing too crazy, just going down and just cleaning him up, pretty much cleaning up his face, making him look presentable and clean. So now I'm just going in on his stash, and again, I like to leave the stash pretty natural. I don't do it anything crazy. I just go in, clean it up, clean up around the edges, just bring it all in together and just make it look nice and sharp. Nothing too crazy though. So right here I've got an old business card, and I'm just going in with my hair fibers and adding a little bit of enhancements to my line. When I use enhancements, I like to keep it real natural looking. I don't like to spray on anything too crazy. I just add a little bit of pop to my lineup, fill in those white spots. I don't go over every single part of the line, just the parts of the line that need a little bit of a pop and a little bit of filling to really make it look super clean, super crispy. So now that I've got my fibers where I want them and everything's looking the way I like, I'm going in with my holding spray and just locking those fibers in. This is just gonna make sure the fibers don't move or get knocked out when somebody rubs their head or anything. This will keep them in there all day. And now after I spray that holding spray on, I just go back in and line it up a little bit more, detail my line and just make sure everything's looking super crispy before I hit it with the razor. So now I'm going in with my straight razor and I'm just stretching the skin in the opposite direction that I'm going to be taking the blade, and I just go towards the line and just create a crispy look. As you can see, that ash line is just looking crispy. Just bringing everything together and just making it real extra sharp. The blades I like to use are the Dorco Primes, the Prime Platinum ones. They just are the most consistent for me, and they're always sharp. Sometimes with other companies, I've just had dull blades or just inconsistent blades. So the Dorco Prime Platinums, they're just always there. They're always working, always super sharp, and they're just super reliable. But I really put an emphasis on making sure you stretch that skin. That's just gonna ensure that you don't cut your client when you're doing this, and it's also just gonna get you that extra sharp look. So now I'm going in on my beard line, and I always do 2 times around on the beard line. I like to make sure I just set everything in first. It's kind of like the way that I lined up with my trimmers first, and then I went back, lined up again, and then went back and lined it with the razor. Well, on my beard, I don't take the trimmers to my clients' faces. Therefore, I make sure I go in a couple times with the razor, not just once. So I'm just hitting it, knocking all the loose hairs around the line off, just bringing everything together. And then you'll see me just go in with my duster, dust it back off, and then just go back in and get that super precise, clean line. I always try to make sure my ash lines look super clean and crispy. So sometimes that does mean redoing them and kind of dusting the line off, going back in, making sure you get a cleaner line. I do not like when my lines look like there's just a lot of product residue and a lot of buildup around them. I like it to just look clean, ashy, just smooth. So right here, I'm just going in with my razor and just shaping up my client's eyebrows. It's the same exact concept as the rest of the line. You just pull the skin away and you just kind of knock off those extra hairs that you don't want and just clean everything up. For the eyebrows, I don't like to go too crazy with it and too extra sharp, you know. I just like to keep it natural looking, but just clean it up a little bit. Right here, I'm going in with some oil sheen, and I'm just adding some nutrients to the hair, getting it all nice and shiny. And then I'm gonna go in with my curling sponge and just add that texture. So when I go in with my sponge, I don't like to apply too much pressure. I just lightly go in a circle motion with my hand and let everything come together, let the texture go in by itself, let the sponge really do the work for me. Boom! This is the cut, YouTube. I'm super stoked on how it came out. Got that blurry fade, super sharp lineup, curls on point. And as you can see, my client, he's just vibing out right now. He's just feeling himself, you know, looking all confident. And that's what this is really about, how your clients feel when they leave your chair. So I really hope you learned something new today. I hope you found value in what I have to bring to the table. So subscribe for more content, and we really bringing heat all 2020.